I'm Sith for Life. Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode of Wayback Review, we're going to be doing a little bit more DC Icons goodness in the form of this Superman vs. Doomsday 2-pack. Out of the box, this is what we've got going for us. We don't really actually have a whole lot of accessories for the individual figures. Most of the accessories are back in the back here, part of the diorama stand piece, a bunch of rocks and stuff. But for the actual figures themselves, Superman doesn't come with any extra hands, but he does come with some heat vision piece that clips on right onto this angry yelling face over here. He'd have a punching effect that clips over his fist, and we have one additional head sculpt. It is Goodnight Superman. A lot of good paint and sculpt on that head, with the scratches and bruising, a little bit of blood. You don't see blood on figures very often, so that's kind of cool. I don't know if I'll use the dead head a whole lot, but it's a good option to have. And then for Doomsday, we have just an extra pair of fists to go with his kind of gripping, clawing hands, and this tattered piece of Superman's cape, which kind of clips over his fist there. There we go. So he just kind of loops over his claws on his fist. So, I mean, I don't think that ever really happens actually in the comic, but it's one of the variant covers. So that's cool, but it's not, again, probably not something I'm going to be doing a whole lot of with this 2-pack. We'll punch in Superman here and see what we got going on. This is my second set of DCUC figures. I just kind of happened upon this one at the right price, and it was an open pack, but just about everything was there. I'm missing some of the pegs for the stand, but other than that, everything appears to be here. It is double jointed legs and arms. He does have diaphragm and ab crunch. The diaphragm seems a little stiff on mine, but the ab crunch, you get about there forward and about there back. Not a whole lot, but enough. This leg seems a little loose, but it does have drop down hips for extra posability. The head is on a ball pivot. Look at that head sculpt. The head sculpt and the paint, even though it's clearly is not a whole lot of paint with the torn shirt, but what is there is good. There's no bleeding over into the skin tone, or the skin tone bleeding over into the suit. It's very well done. The waist down is looking good. It does have peg hole on the right foot. I'm not sure about this diaphragm joint. I might need to play with that a little bit and get it. It kind of seems like it's kind of popped up a little bit, but other than that, it looks great. I've got some loose joint fix, so I might hit that leg, because it's pretty floppy. But overall, for the price I paid, which I'll get into in a minute. For a used set, I can't be too upset. It was notated in the ad, so I knew what I was getting into. Doomsday, I'm gonna punch him in over here, and he's got the similar loose hips a little bit. They are dropped down. We have bicep swivel. This is like an overlay piece. He doesn't have a whole lot of range of movement in that elbow. It is a single joint, but I mean, that's about all we're getting out of that. The up is going to be hindered by his bone protrusions here, so that's about as far up as his shoulders are going to go. They do come down. They don't quite come down enough to have him arms at his side, but the ab crunch is quite a bit better on this one for some reason than it is on Superman, but that might be because of that stiffness. It is double jointed knees. That's cool. But where this 2-pack shines is the sculpt and the paint. Each of his bone protrusions is actually properly painted and shaded. It's even got like little bits of like weathering down in the side there. A bit of a wash. The hair is nice and white. They kind of hide the text on the silver part there. It's not as noticeable. Seems like they could have put that on the feet, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Overall, it's a pretty imposing Doomsday. He's a good size to go with Superman. That's one thing I don't like about the current McFarlane ones. He's too big. Doomsday, well, he is a big dude. He was never like Hulk level, especially not in this early Death of Superman run. He was a big guy, but he wasn't, you know, massive proportions. He was about 8 foot tall and broad shouldered, but this is a good size comparison here. I like that. I like that quite a bit. I'm gonna pull on some other figures from some different waves, and we'll compare them, see how they stack up, how they scale, and see if it will work for your collection. I'll be right back. Here they are with the Marvel Legends Secret Wars Captain America and the Odin Build-A-Figure Wave Thor. I actually kind of like how these two scale together. He should be little bit bigger than he is, but I feel like that would work not too badly in a 6.5 inch scale collection. This is where we have her falling apart. Superman should be at least as tall as Captain America, if not a little bit taller, and Superman's looking a little scrawny next to him. I mean, I think if they were far enough apart in the collection, it would be one thing, but man, that's small. True 6-inch scale versus 6.5 inch or Marvel Legends scale. So it's to be expected, but it is a stark difference. Here's a few more Reign of Superman, Death of Superman figures to compare with. On the right, we have the Mezco 1/12 Return of Superman figure. And on the left, we have the DC Universe Classics Eradicator. I like the scaling with the Doomsday. I feel like that works just fine. Again, over here is where we have her falling apart. Mezco is already a little bit smaller than Marvel Legends, and this guy still looks tiny next to him. So Yeah, that doesn't really work outside of a true 6-inch scale. I think 6.5-inch scale. I think this still works. I think it still works just fine. And here he is with the other DC icons, the ones that I just reviewed last week. John looks great next to Superman. These scale perfectly as they should. They're in this from the same line, both true 6-inch scale. And then Damian over here, Doomsday. Doomsday looks like he's gonna crush Damian. These I like. I'm definitely glad I got more DC icons, and I can't wait to get more. I'm excited to build out this wave quite a bit more. Grogu's efforts to find people his size is getting him into some hairy, scary situations. He's going to find himself being lunch if he's not careful. The last part we have to talk about is a stand. It looks good, the sculpt's good, it's painted well, but realistically, it is just too small for these two figures to fit on together. It comes with these rocks that, if you have the pegs, you can peg in, but you can also just kind of, set them there, and they do a pretty good job of staying put. If you were going to do just one figure on the stand, that would work just fine, but having both of them on there, they're far too close. They look more like they're about to kiss than they fight. So, yep. Other than that, it looks good. I ended up getting it used, like I said, off of eBay. It was opened and displayed previously, so I didn't pay new price for it. I ended up paying about $170 for this 2-pack. I wanted it mainly for the Doomsday because I plan on getting that other DC Icons Superman. But I was not upset to get this Superman. I don't normally go for like the battle damaged look, but this issue is just so iconic and beloved that I feel like it's fine. I'm fine with getting this battle damaged version, and the fact that it's a pretty limited run, and it was the last of the DC icons. Fitting to me, the Death of Superman being the last DC icons, but it's new. They usually go for about $250 new in box. With his limited articulation and his lack of accessories beyond just the heat vision, which does clip on pretty easily, by the way. It just kind of, make sure you're doing it the right way. It just kind of clips on. Pretty easy peasy. And then it's the same with the fist punching effect. It's got just like that. And so then it looks like he's punching with a whole lot of force, and that's cool. But aside from that, he doesn't really come with a whole lot. I don't think I would pay the $250 for it. $150 is kind of pushing it. I had a coupon that brought it down to about $150, but I don't know. Again, it comes down to a completionist thing. If you're going for the entire set of DC icons, you kind of need this one because it's the only way to get this Doomsday. And by the way, this is the only, as far as I know, the only actual first appearance Doomsday that we've seen, not counting containment suit, but this actual first design of Doomsday, we don't see it very often at all. The McFarlane one doesn't look anything like the original, the first appearance. The other ones, like the DC Direct and stuff, they look good, they look great. The DC UC looks great, but they all have these big bone protrusions out the back here, which is fine, but that's not the first appearance. That is more of a Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey type look. This, with a much more subtle bone protrusions, is actually what he looked like in that original cover, or that original issue of Superman, Death of Superman. So for that reason alone, that's probably the main reason this 2-pack commands such a high price in the aftermarket. And yeah, if you're going for a Doomsday collection, or if you're going for a DC Icons collection, you're kind of forced to pay that $250 fee if you don't find one used like I did. And finding one used has its own issues, like these loose hips. I'm definitely gonna have to see about using some joint fix and tightening that back up a little bit, but they stand just fine. It doesn't seem to be causing an issue. It's just the fact that I know that it's loose is going to drive me crazy. I wish he was a little bit more articulated. Even just getting him in that, like, ready to bring his fist down stance is kind of difficult. But overall, he looks great. I'm not upset that I paid for him. So that's about all I've got for today. Thanks for watching and sticking around.